Hello everyone, my name is Masterstarman and welcome back for more Let's Play Kirby 64 the Crystal Shards. Last time on this pink puffy fairy tale, we saved the world from the evils of dark matter. And yeah, so what are we doing in today's video here if the world's saved? Well, there's a lot of extras we have to go over here. And we're actually playing on the Switch here, specifically the Switch 2 here, Nintendo Switch Online version of this game, rather than the Dream Collection, because of a few particular reasons that I'll get into here, and I may as well kind of get into them here now. So, first things first here, there's a bit of a trick we can do here, that if you ever want a complete 100% save file on here, there's actually a bit of a cheat code you can input here. I don't know if this works on the Dream Collection or the Virtual Console here. I tested this on the Switch Online here, and this did work for me last night when I tried it, so... yeah. Basically, on File 1, you can have whatever you want on there. In File 2 has to be completely blank, and File 3 has to be blank, but at least started here. So basically, just press A on the File 2 sign once, and it'll give you this 0% sign here. So this next part's a little bit tricky for me to explain here, so I'm just going to explain it as this is a clip I have saved on my Switch here. On a second controller, yes, this has to be a second controller specifically, you need to hold down the L button and press C up, R, C right, C left, and start on this HAL logo specifically, and on a Player 2 controller. If done correctly, you'll hear that jingle there. That is the important thing you want to hear. And if you hear that, you will have a 100% save file here on File 3. And when I say 100%, I mean truly 100%, because this will have all of the enemy info in here. I wasn't able to show off all of these cards here throughout the project here. This is what a lot of those enemy cards would get you if you completed levels there. I could be wrong, but I want to say most of that is kind of complete randomness, so that's why I didn't really worry too much about that. And I figured I knew there was a cheat code in this game to help with that I figured would help with, well, just showing this off anyway. So let's kind of look through some of these enemy cards here. You can press A to kind of look through them here. I don't think there's a way to do anything else with these specifically, so... page 1 looks like it's mostly just the bosses, which is surprising. We got Pix, Acro. Doesn't really seem to be a way to rotate these, I'm noticing. Magman, HRH, which this is so weird. I did not notice until, like, after I recorded this part of the project that this guy had, like, a spike with a yellow dot for a head. I actually thought the face on the chest there was his head the entire time. Also have HRE, the transformed version of him, Miracle Matter, and 02. There's also just a lot of regular enemies here, and it'll also show which enemies give abilities as well here if you look through all these here. I'm kind of just gonna skim through most of them here. But this is a cool little feature that you can kind of mess around with here. It's nice also that there is just kind of a convenient cheat code to help you view this off if you just ever wanted to look at it here. This just reminds me of that one cat gif. I'll have to share that in here, the one with the cat just nodding repeatedly. I love that gif so much. He's just vibing. He's really vibing. Mahal. This thing's vibing for some reason. There's Gabon. That's a funny name. I-cubed, really? wish more games had something like an enemy bio like this, you know? Like, I've been replaying a lot of Pikmin 2 lately. I actually just finished that this past week, and, I know that game has, like, the Picklepedia for viewing all the enemies in the game. Also, we got Bobo here. Big Bobo. No! I misread this as Karen for a second. Karen. I don't get the pun with this one. If it even is supposed to be. I say ayo, 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 ayo. Getting a lot more of the enemies with abilities here. Plug. I want to say Plug comes back in Star Allies. I think it's like the new... not Spark, the new Plasma helper in that game, I think. Just really weird and confusing, and I hate that they keep separating those two abilities. Just stay merged for love of God. That's Zeus. That's a cute cacti. Don't remember there being much difference between Rockin' and, like, Pedo earlier. There's Galbo, we've seen those in a bunch of Kirby games. These guys aren't called Sasuke, huh? They look damn near identical to the enemy called Sasuke, even though their Parasol's not an ability in this game. Rough, I don't see Nelly anywhere. I didn't know this counted as an enemy, but okay. I also don't even remember where we would see this thing in the game. Wall Shotzo. Kiki! Pretty obvious reference there, I think. Sparky. Don't even know what this is unless this is just a generic rock. That's probably what it is. If this was set in, like, Return to Dreamland or Triple Deluxe, this would definitely give the Leaf ability. This thing also just looks like a... what's that one Gen 8 Pokemon? The... Choodle, I think is the name of it. That's what this kind of reminds me of a little bit. Alright, that's it for the enemy bio there. There's a lot of bonuses we have to go over here, and we'll save minigames for second last, I think, here, because I think that's probably the most interesting mode here. I guess we'll start... I'll go into settings here and just show this is the display menu where you can change your HUD layout here. I personally like 5 the best, followed by maybe closely 1. I don't mind 4 also, but yeah, I'd say... I'm just gonna keep it on 1 for now, but 5's probably my favorite of those. We have the standard boss rush mode, take on the bosses one by one, go at them unarmed, and show them who's boss. I don't even feel like I need to show this mode here. Well, actually, I think I'll show... this will give me a good time to show the game over screen here, which is pretty funny here. So... I remember this having a pretty funny defeated screen here. It's hopeless. Oh, that's pretty great. I feel like this might be the only time you'll probably see this. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, maybe I could maybe see it in, like, the factory level possibly as well. Depends, I guess, how much of the game you play, because your lives do reset after every, like, time you turn the game off, but yeah. That's Boss Rush. Thankfully, it's not required for 100% in this game, unlike Dreamland 3, so thank God. We have Theater and Sound Test, which I guess I can kind of show off here. So this is just kind of where that one, like, gif you'll see of Kirby with the headphones kind of comes from here. He just likes to vibe out. Can't hear any cars coming at him there or anything, but it's all good. We have the theater here, which there is an alternate ending here that we can view. I think it's called Farewell. This would be the ending you would get if you don't get all of the Crystal Shards and defeat Miracle Matter. It's kind of just your standard fare, you know, the day's kind of saved here. This little starship here, which doesn't really appear too many other places. And they shake hands. I like how Dedede's getting emotional here. But we know someone is sus that whole time. Yeah, that's kind of your subtle hint that you know there's a lot more behind the scenes going on there. And yeah, Darkness Calls and Crystal Clear you'll only get if you get all of the Crystal Shards. There is also an alternate version of the credits as well, though, I'm pretty sure. I don't think this is it here, but nah, no, this actually looks like the bad credits here. So yeah, the bad ending of the credits actually it's similar to the one before, but it's all mostly sketches and not the colored in drawings you get if you get the full ending there. So yeah, I figured I'll show this one off here because it is a little bit different here. Probably wouldn't be able to tell what that HRH drawing is there, but yeah, some of these drawings you probably wouldn't be able to tell too well. It is cool. It almost looks like concept sketches, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what these are here. Kind of wish these weren't on an N64 game, because it would be really cool to see these in a much higher resolution, but, eh, it is what it is. But yeah, this is basically what you get if you don't get all the Crystal Shards. I think this is easily, I mean, I think this is easily the easiest of the Dark Matter trilogy, but I've also been playing this game a lot more than I played Dreamland 2 or 3. So, I don't know if that's a fair comparison to say or not. I can definitely see somebody having a bit of a learning curve here. Get a bit of an ominous thing there, you're like, what the hell is that thing? Because you wouldn't have fought 0-2 if you didn't do that, if you got this ending normally. And that's pretty much it here. I'm guessing that the proper staff credits plays after Crystal Clear, because that's the good ending for that, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the theater there. It has a nice little theater border around everything as well there. Good to just kind of watch some of those cutscenes there. And I guess we should talk about the minigames here, because there's 3 of these here, and they're actually a lot of fun here. And if this is a 100% save file, I wonder if I get the harder difficulties of these. I'll point that out in a minute, though. We have 100-yard hop. It's a race to the finish. To win, give your best hop. Bumper crop bump, catch falling crop, bump your way to a full basket. And checkerboard chase. Chase down your opponents, get the drop on them to win. I'm going to be going through these one at a time here. You can actually pick between the other characters here. Ribbon's not in this, but the other ones are here. I'll demonstrate these with the other characters, because why not here. And this doesn't have the other difficulties in here. That's a little unfortunate here. There are multiple difficulties you can get for this here by clearing each successive one round here. It's not too hard. I mean, they do definitely get harder on the higher up difficulties. This one here, you just basically press A to jump 2 squares and press B to jump 1. It's a simple minigame premise, but it's actually kind of a lot of fun here. It can be deceptive with how you go through, and you also kind of have to dodge frogs accordingly here. We went through that pretty effortlessly there. And yeah, the minigames in this game are quite a lot of fun, and I have a bit of a story I can share with them, actually. So, my very first time ever going to PAX East was in March 2013, and the Dream Collection had basically come out that previous, I think it was in October, so it was out for a few months there, but it was still the newest Kirby game at that time. And they actually had a tournament for the Dream Collection, if you could believe it. A 64-person tournament, in fact. And you might be asking, how do you have a tournament for a game like this? And simply put, it was a bunch of these minigames here. I believe we started with the Kirby 64 minigames, and then, okay, just a bunch of Waddle Dees here. We started with the Kirby 64 minigames, then moved on to Super Star, and then to... Basically, from then on, I was actually eliminated in the Superstar rounds, because... Yeah, but that's basically what happened with that, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of one of my first times going to a big tournament like that. I'm not really someone who goes to tournaments much these days. I think my anxiety's probably gotten worse about that sort of thing, but it was definitely a fun experience, though. This is where I'm kind of starting to mess up a little bit more here, because the course starts to get a little bit trickier here. I still won this pretty easily, but not as effortlessly as I did the first round, anyway. I won't be showing the other rounds too much for the other ones. Maybe checkerboard chase, there's not too much to bumper crop, but we'll talk about that one. So, bumper crop, catch falling crop, bump your way to a full basket. This one's definitely the longest of these minigames. And from what I remember, I think we had to do like a best of 5 in this one, so it was definitely like a long time we were playing this one. But yeah, this is basically what we do here. It can be a little tricky with like your positioning. It's not too much to say about this mode in particular here. I know in my old Let's Play of 64, I did show off at least the minigames in that. That was like one of the few things I do remember showing off in that project there. But yeah. You can kind of just bump characters out of the way. It is a little, like, tricky sometimes. You may accidentally push the characters in the wrong direction that you don't want to push them in. Like there, I was holding right to push DD out of the way there, and it didn't really work there. Man, when it's near the end here, the tree will start to go kind of wild here. I thought more was going to kind of fall all at once there, but probably something on the higher difficulties for that. I'm fine with this 28 here. My D is happy. I love this, like, victory screen here as well. So that's basically it for this mode here. And lastly, we have Checkerboard Chase, and I actually switched files here because I'm pretty sure I have all the ones on Checkerboard Chase here. Yes, I do have all the difficulties here. This is easily my favorite of the 3 minigames, and I think it's usually seen as the fan favorite one here. I'll start with easy here, and I'll show you what it's like on the harder difficulties after this here. This minigame was so liked they brought it back in Return to Dreamland Deluxe, so you've definitely seen me play this minigame if you've followed my channel for a while. So, this is one that if I'm ever back to Kirby 64, which I play this game quite often, honestly. I revisit this one, like, pretty often. This is one minigame I'll go back to whenever I do go back to this game, because it's a ton of fun. It's not too much to say, you just create a wave of things that destroys blocks in your path, and yeah, oh, okay. Everyone just died all at the same time there. I wasn't really paying too much attention to that, but sure. Let's show it off on one of the harder difficulties here. Oh, we got the entire crew here. Let's go to intense here, because it's super, super nutty on this difficulty here. Oh, shoot. Oh my god, Waddle Dee! What are you doing? I sometimes just like to focus on survival more than anything. I say that as I've, like, been knocked off twice already. Oh my god, what is this? I couldn't do anything. Oh, crap. Yeah, I'm not doing so hot here, but you see what I mean, how difficult this gets in this version of the game. Oh my god, and I'm out. Yeah, this game gets really nutty. Wow, most of these guys only lost like 1 hit by the time I was gone. I'm probably better at this in Return to Dreamland Deluxe, just in the sense that, like, I don't know if it's the frame rate or what, but, like, it just feels smoother in a way, and I think it's just, again, a case of, like, going from, you know, an N64 minigame to a Switch one, and I feel like that's the same vibe I get from playing, like Mario Party Superstars, and the king wins that, because DDD, that's the name you should know. It's actually a pretty cool screenshot. I'll take this here, why not? So yeah, that's Checkerboard Chase. This is easily, I think, the best of the minigames here. It's very fun, very chaotic, great with friends and family alike. Probably my favorite of the minigames in this one. And with that, there's only really one more bonus here that we have yet to really show off here. And yeah, how about we show it off here? I want to do what I promised 14 years ago when I did my original Let's Play, almost 15 years ago. And I want to show off all the ability combinations here, because there's a lot of them in this game. It's kind of intimidating to go through all of them, but I want to show that off. Once again, the best stage in the game to do that in is in 2-2 here. And because of the way the abilities work in this game, I'll be kind of going through these in order by how soon they appear in the level, and there's not, like, if you get, like, say, Fire plus Cutter, it's the same ability regardless which order of ability you get that in. It's not like there's a different ability for Cutter plus Fire versus Fire plus Cutter, if that makes any sense. So, by the time I get to, like, Ice in particular, there's not going to be very many, like, I'll kind of just end up showing all the Ice abilities throughout, like, as I'm going through with the other ones. I'm just letting you know that. Probably a weird way of explaining it, but let's go ahead and get things rolling here. So, right off the bat, we have the bomb ability here. You can throw bombs. Not too much to say, but it is kind of interesting to see the bomb ability appear here. I think this was only its second ever game appearance after in Superstar, so that's pretty neat. We have Cutter here. Cutter's not that great in this game just because Kirby throws his face if you notice it, which is pretty funny. but it is kind of on the slow side, so, and you can't really do much when your face is off there. You have stone here, which you can move around in, but otherwise it's nothing too special here. We have fire, which is the burning fireball here. Can be kind of fast, but a little unruly at the same time here. The more you use it, the weaker it gets, and that's not always the best thing in the world here. Spark here. Nothing too much to say about this one here. If you're not moving, you get a much bigger stationary spark here, but if you're moving around, it's kind of... yeah, but it is nice that you can at least move around with this ability, I guess. We have Needle in here, kind of the same as it's always been. Can only stay spiky for a few seconds, though, so kind of keep that in mind. And lastly, the Ice ability here. Kind of just spins around here. I think Ice, actually, from what I remember, is pretty good in this game. Just very rare. It's always kind of a uncommon ability in these games for whatever reason. Alright, so starting off with the fusion abilities here, we're going to be using Bomb Kirby a lot here. We have Missiles. This one's pretty good. Homes in pretty fast. It's honestly a pretty good fusion ability for Bomb. A lot of Bomb's abilities can be a little hit or miss, but this one I actually kind of like. And speaking of abilities I really like here, we have Bomb plus Cutter. I've talked about this one a bunch before in the LP, but the Ninja Star here, very, very good. It's very fast. Practically, I mean, you're a ninja, so comes out very fast, does good damage. Can stick to objects here. It's just a very, very good ability for how quick it is. On topic of not good abilities here, though, on the opposite end of the stick, we have Stone and Bomb. Throw a stick of dynamite out, it sucks. It's needed for the worst Crystal Shard in the game. I think from comments I got, they generally agree. Has a big explosive radius, but the fact it hurts you if you're not covered in the hard hat, really, really big points against it. This ability sucks. Bomb plus Fire, meanwhile, is actually a pretty good one. I mean, I demonstrated this as well in the Neo Star video. It's a bunch of fireworks here. Has good very, very, very wide radius. It's quite good just for that alone. Pretty good against most bosses. I'd say this is definitely one of the better ones here. Next we have Bomb and Spark here. This one's alright. It's cute. It's a light bulb. Not too much to say about it otherwise. It looks really cute. It's needed for one of the shards. I think it's in 2-4, the kind of that UFO spaceship level in the desert area there. It's alright. Needle and Bomb. My original Let's Play, as I said before, I actually played the entire game with just this ability here. It's a pretty good, if slow, ability. It has a very huge blast radius here. It's very powerful, but it is definitely a bit slow. And this isn't the kind of game that you would want to play with only one ability. You want to experiment with a lot of the abilities. Still, I do have a soft spot for this one, though. I think it is actually a pretty fun ability otherwise. And lastly, Bomb and Ice is a snowman. Once again, we saw this one earlier in the LP. It was needed for a shard in Stage 1 of Aquastar, I believe. It's pretty good. Snowman that just explodes. What more needs to be said? So Cutter plus Cutter, we saw this one in World 1 as well. This one's kind of needed for a shard early on in the game, but yeah, it's just a gigantic cutter here. Kind of does what you'd expect it to do. It's a literal just giant cutter here. Not too much more to say. It kind of has the same problem I have with the regular cutter, where you can't really do much when it's off your face, but I do like this one a bit more than that, just because it is more destructive. So, as I explained earlier, we already saw Cutter plus Bomb here, so yeah. Not as many abilities we need to kind of go through from here on out with the other ones. Cutter plus Stone is the Dreamland 3 ability here, the one that gave us that show me... I hate you, game. Gave us the Rick thing there. Most of the animal buddies in this game are not great. there's only one that I would say is actually good, and it's Pitch here. Pitch is pretty fast and lets you move around. You're basically invincible when you use this, but the other ones are not great. Rick is needed for a shard, and there's not much else other than that. This ability's situational at best. Even Nagos, like, yeah, you don't have your speed, Nago. I'm sorry there. I love you in Dreamland 3, but you're just not what you used to be. Cutter plus Fire is one of the best abilities in the game. It's a fire sword. You can swing it around here, huge hitbox. You can aim it above you, huge hitbox. You can toss it. Yeah, this is one of the best abilities in the game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't have too much more to say here. That one is just simply awesome. Cutter plus Spark here. I've said it before again, much like the one with Fire, this is, and Bomb for that matter as well. Cutter just has a lot of the really good abilities in the game. Other than Stone here, not really too many bad Cutter ones here. This is a contender for the best ability in the game, seriously. Kirby Maul here. The lightsaber has a colossal hitbox. Spins it around, it's fast, good damage. It's really just one of the best abilities in the game here. Next up we have Cutter plus Needle. What is this one again? Ah, this one here. Yep, Kirby just acts like a big old snapping trap here. Not really too much more to say about this one here. It's alright. Comes out pretty fast and has a pretty good, like, wide hitbox there. It's not too bad, I suppose. Probably not as great as some of Cutter's other greatest hits, but when you have Ninja Stars and 2 elemental swords, not really too much more you need with that one. Lastly, and I hope I don't miss this one here because I'm replaying the level for a long time if I do, is Cutter and Ice, which we saw briefly a little bit before. This one's kind of cute. It's an ice skating ability here. Not too much to say about this one. It can be a little unruly, but I think it's a cute ability here. I believe you kind of have to be spinning to have most of your hitbox there, but it's a cute ability. Out of all of Cutter's, I'd definitely say that Bomb, Spark, and Fire have the best of those by far. Next up we have the Stone abilities. Something I never really showed off there is that you can hold an enemy above your head and let it touch another enemy to gain an ability. I think I showed that off accidentally, but Stone and Stone is just a big old rock here. Not much more to say about it there. It's fine. Stone and Fire is the Volcano here. This one was needed in Stage 3-2. I like this one. It's a little stationary, but I can see it being good against some bosses. It's not too bad, I suppose. Stone and Spark, I know we showed this off because it's needed for a shard in Rockstar. Pretty great ability also. I think this one's... It's a little unruly, but it does a lot of damage and has a huge, huge hurt box here, so I can't complain too much. Stone and Needle. Oh, it's the drill. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Another one of my favorites here. It's just a really fun ability. You can hold it in just to kind of go forward here. It's all Gurren Lagann here. Pretty good projectile, all things considered. Kind of reminds me of Drillman's weapon from Mega Man 4, but I actually like this one a lot more, if I'm being honest. This one was needed for a shard in the factory level, I believe. So 5-4. I used it also to get a shard in 4-3 as well. That's like the kind of mountainous cliff level in Neostar. That one just requires Neo, but you get these abilities right at the start of that level anyway, so why not? Yeah, no, that's one of the best ones of Stone there, I think. Maybe even my favorite of the Stone ones, now that I think about it. And Stone and Ice, I'm trying to remember this... Oh, wait, I remember this one now here. I think this is one that the speedruns like a lot. You're a curling puck. Or a curling rock, I think is what it's called. It's a clever little ability for this here. You can freeze stuff along the way here. I'd say I probably like it more than the ice skating one. The ice skating one's cute, but it's kind of impractical in a lot of places. This one, I think, is kind of that idea done better. Yeah, it also leaves a bit of a lingering hitbox, too, so... Yeah, this one's cool. Pun intended. Fire plus Fire is a giant phoenix thing here. This ability is super awesome. Can be, you have a bit of like end lag here. It's not always practical, but it is really awesome when you can get the hang of it here. Can't really cancel out of it though, which is a little impractical. Okay, Fire and Spark. I know we've seen this one a couple of times. It's not that great. He kind of just zaps himself a little bit and lights himself on fire here. It's okay. Not much to really say about that one there. Needle, I'm switching levels here for just because it was fire. This ability was literally at the beginning of stage 1 here. We have a bow and arrow here for fire arrows here. This one's okay. It's needed for a shard in 6-3, I believe it is. The penultimate level with the enemy gauntlet thing there. It's okay. A little slow, but it's not terrible, I suppose. Lastly, we have Fire and Ice. Something Pat Benatar song or Sonic Boom here. This ability is weird, and I don't really get it. I don't really get this one, I'm sorry. Probably just a hitbox around you, but it's honestly probably not great. Maybe a bit bigger than Spark or Ice or something, or Needle, but I don't think it's that great. Probably the weakest of the Fire and Ice abilities, honestly, especially when there's a lot of other good ones for these. Spark and Spark, I don't really get this one that much here. It's... you let out this, like, weird aura around here, and I guess it's supposed to zap enemies that are nearby, but you can move around with it, but it's kind of on the weak side if you do, and I don't know, I never really got this one all that much. Yeah, I don't know, it's okay, I guess. I kind of prefer Spark with some other abilities. Spark and Needle, this is needed for a kind of annoying shard in 5-2, it's a lightning rod. It's pretty good, kind of stationary, but it is honestly not too bad otherwise. Comes out really fast, zaps anything kind of near you here. It's got a decent hitbox, I don't mind this one. And time for the best ability in the game here. I know I showed this off, it's the Fridge! Does damage, it heals you, it's... you can't complain too much about this one, you're a Fridge. What more do I need to say about this one? Needle plus Needle is a giant assortment of spiked objects here. We have, what do we got here? We have a, like a corkscrew opener thing, a doctor's needle, a cactus, a sharp pencil, a protractor, a nail, a bee stinger. Yeah, this a fork. This ability is painful to look at here. Kind of funny, though. We have Needle and Ice, which is also another really, really cool-looking one. Just turn into a giant spiked icicle thing here. Not really as mobile and takes a few minutes, or a few moments to pull out here, but this one's really, really awesome. This is another one that just looks painful to look at here, but it is really, really cool to look at also. And the final ability in the game, believe it or not, is the double ice ability here. We've seen all the other fusions of this one throughout this so far, so this one's just a giant snowball here. Not much to really say about this one here. I like this one. I usually use it in the volcano level, but I've since learned you can use any ice ability for that, so can't really complain too much there. There's kind of only a couple more things I want to show off here, so... Alright, we are fighting HRH again here. So, yeah, I've alluded to this before here, but turns out there is kind of an alternate thing that can kind of happen in this boss fight here that I've always been aware of, but I've never really seen it for myself, and I would like to show that off here because, yeah, it's something that, like, I'd kind of like to just show off here, just kind of believe here. Alright, in Phase 2, when he transforms into HRE here, I was told if you wait about 4 minutes here, then this fight just automatically ends. And I want to see that for certainty, because I've never seen that before. so I kind of just have to sit here and dodge his attacks for, like, 4 minutes here. I'll meet you guys back in a minute here. Okay, this is, new here. So he'll turn back into... Yeah, he turns back into HRH here, and, the floor disappears, and... Yeah, you cannot damage him anymore here. I've never seen this in my life. This is the most generous... Wow. This is the most generous time limit you ever get for a timed boss in a Kirby game. Like, that second phase you can probably finish off in maybe 30 seconds to a minute. It takes, like, 4 minutes before that does that. Interesting. I guess one last thing I can demonstrate, this isn't that important in the grand scheme of things, but in the fight against 0-2 here, this, again, keep in mind I'm playing on the Nintendo Switch Online service here, there's kind of a weird graphical emulation problem with this fight. I don't think this looks, I mean, it's probably a minor aesthetical thing to some people, but it is definitely something that's noticeable and for sure. The wings are definitely not supposed to be this white outline here, but yeah, I just figured I'd kind of mention that here. That's a very fast run of 0-2 that I just did there. The music didn't even get to the good part of it. But yeah, I don't really have too much more to say about this. We definitely kind of showed off all the extras I think that we could show off with this here. I don't really have too much more to say at this point here. I will mention, actually, there is one other thing I wanted to touch on with this ending here that I never really said before. I don't know for sure or not, but I always thought this ending was kind of a reference to the original Star Wars, like, the ending of New Hope. I don't know for sure if it is or not, but it always just reminded me of that a lot. Just like the whole award ceremony aspect of that, so... Yeah, I don't know if that's just me or not, but let me know what you think in the comments. In all seriousness, though, again, I love Kirby 64 a lot. One of my favorite games in the Kirby series here, and I think it's definitely one that you guys should experience if you haven't already. It may take a little bit to get used to, but once you get the hang of it, I think this one's a lot of fun, and it's an adventure that I always really love going back to every now and again. And yeah, next time on Kirby's Dream Collection, we have now finished all of the games in this collection here now, so we will go off to the extra stages. This is a mode that's very similar to the stuff that was added in Kirby's Return to Dreamland, the extra stages from that. And yeah, we'll kind of start that off here next time. Have yourselves a great day. Happy Masterstarman, and peace out.